Hello, I'm the Media Wiz, cause one art form wasn't enough, and I'm finally getting around to one of the most suggested things that people wanted me to talk about on this show, Nickelodeon Splat Attack. Nickelodeon Splat Attack is a board game meant to cash in on the nostalgia of 90s Nickelodeon, with some of their biggest characters from Rugrats to Hey Arnold to SpongeBob, of course. The game was originally a Kickstarter project back in 2018, and ultimately met its goals around 2020. Announcing new potential characters to be added to the game, as well as the gilded Reptar Rampage expansion pack.
In Reptar Rampage, you'll need to decide between throwing food at Reptar and collecting cool points from him, or throwing food at your opponents in order to steal theirs. Players who successfully hit Reptar send him rampaging into their opponent's zones. Get smooshed by Reptar, and he eats your cool points, making it possible for other players to steal them from Reptar.
So unlike crap we've talked about before, like Bullet Ball and Bukkake the card game, this actually did get proper funding and was properly released. While I was doing research for this review, the one thing that I had learned that I had never known after all these years of reading their comics was that IDW was the company responsible for this game. Yeah, IDW, the comic company. For a while, they had their own board game division. Granted, it shut down just a couple years ago, but still, I'm actually surprised this comic company I've kept up with for years now actually made board games as well. And much like with their comics, a lot of them were already based on popular properties. So honestly, it would make sense they'd want to make a Nick crossover combat game. With IDW regulars, artist David Garcia Cruz and game designer Jonathan Yang at the helm of this project. And hey, unlike last time with Golden Bell, IDW's games seem to have positive reception, this one included. But will this game live up to the hype? After all these months of waiting and prepping for this review, will it actually be as good as some people have made it out to be? Let's find out for ourselves. This is Nickelodeon Splat Attack. So this is the board game for Nickelodeon Splat Attack. The box is fairly standard. I actually like the quality of artwork we have on the front cover. It looks like a pretty good amalgamation of all the art styles without distancing itself too much and, you know, making the characters go uncanny valley. I mean, you know, it's clear that it was done by the same person, but it doesn't change the art styles too much to where it doesn't look right. Like, Arnold still looks like Arnold, SpongeBob and Patrick still look like SpongeBob and Patrick. And you got this nice little artwork on the side, looks like, I don't know, some doodles you'd see on like a children's food menu at a restaurant or something. Not entirely sure what this aesthetic is called, but it looks fine for what it is. Then you flip it around to the back of the box, and that's how the board tiles are supposed to be laid out, and how the characters and the cards and whatnot are supposed to be laid out. Looks pretty standard. And then you get to some of the description stuff on the back. Quick to learn. Start tossing food in minutes. A fast-action, light-hearted miniature combat game. Includes 16 miniatures of your favorite characters. And right over here it lists off all the different things that are going to be in this game. You got game boards, you got little figurines, you got tons of cards, you got tons of tokens all throughout the game. So yeah, right then and there it lists off all the components you have to work with. Prepare for the food fight to end all food fights. I'm pretty sure that's a review quote on the back of the box of the movie Food Fight. Because that movie is so awful, it would make you never want to hear the word food fight ever again. Food fight! In an all-star, jam-packed crossover event featuring Nickelodeon's SpongeBob SquarePants. I love that that's always the first one, because, damn it, Nickelodeon will never let you forget that SpongeBob is their golden boy. Hey Arnold, Rugrats, and Invader Zim in Nickelodeon Splat Attack. You select a team and then head to the cafeteria to unload your tray. Sling unique food items, roll dice to hit, and place a splat token on your opponents. If a character is completely covered with the splats, then they're splatted out of the game. Alright, perfectly self-explanatory there. Very simple, standard, to the point, energetic. Yeah, that's probably one of the best descriptions I've read on the back of a board game in quite a while. Okay, I'm going to try and be very careful with this because earlier the box just exploded and all I did was simply just tap on the on the top of this and the whole thing just fell out. So yeah, take two. Let's try and be careful this time. Alright, much better this time. Alright, so we have the instruction booklet, which still pretty jam-packed, all things considered. It's not as bad as the instruction guide we had last time, But yeah, I mean, it basically runs down the logistics of what all this stuff is. Explains all the different gameplay styles. Like I said, it's certainly a lot more helpful than the instruction manual for Flying Dutchman's Treasure Hunt and Eels and Escalators, so I'll give them that. You have these food bags, which are supposed to basically hold like potential items that you're supposed to throw at your enemies. Yeah, for some reason they have 3, 4, and 5, but they coincide with the food cards, which we'll get to in a sec. These are the 4 tile pieces that will be making up the board. So yeah, this is yet another board game where it doesn't have a full-on board that you unfold and whatnot. Then you got these things which have all the characters on it, as you can see, and they're all supposed to be the cards that you use that once they get covered, then that means that player is out of the game. So yeah, very, very simple, very easy to get behind. And for some reason, this picture of Squidward almost looks like he's dabbing. I don't know if that was intentional. I hope to God it wasn't. And you got this bag that has the dice, as well as the tokens, and some of these will give you more points than other players. Here are the food cards that I mentioned earlier, and you'll notice they all have little numbers in the corner. So this is basically what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to put the cards in the bags with each of the numbers. So the bag that says 4, you'll put this card in 4. This one says 3, you put that in 3. The bag has some more tokens, but it also has the splats themselves that you're supposed to use. And again, you'll notice they're all color coordinated. So like 4 is blue, so say you get a 4 and you have to reach in and get this out of the bag that says 4. And what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to take these little splatter marks and you're supposed to put them on each of these whenever your character gets hit. And like it said on the back, whenever a character gets hit enough times, that basically is when the game's over. There are the danger tokens. These are basically what you can use to damage other players or slip them up. We got some more splatters here. We got these things, which I'm not 100% sure what these are actually. So these are the character cards, and these come in handy because these are what basically tell you how good your characters are. And these definitely will come in handy when you're trying to put together your group, because you're probably going to want characters that have really good stats. So now the thing that everybody talks about when they bring up this game, and that's how freaking good these character figures are. And I will freely admit, yes, these character figures are easily some of the best I've seen in quite a while, and they put a lot of love and a lot of attention to detail here, and you know, it is really cool, and I can see why it's definitely one of the main selling factors, because I don't know, like even for Nickelodeon, most board games just kind of rush their figures out, but they actually put a lot of serious attention to detail here, and I think that's very commendable. The one thing that kind of sucks is having to put them back, because as you can see, some of them are already like jostling out of position. So yeah, if you get lost on some of these and don't know where they go, you're gonna have a difficult time putting them back. Now that we got the game out of the box, how exactly is the game played? So the objective of the game is it's a cafeteria setting, and it's broken out into an all-out food fight between the Nicktoons. The 4 main sets including the cast of SpongeBob, Rugrats, Hey Arnold, and Invader Zim. You know, the show that Nick ended too soon, but now merchandise the hell out of because they know it has a huge cult following. So each board consists of 2 to 4 teams, each team consisting of 4 characters. This is easily one of the funnest parts of the game, being able to customize your group. Sure, you can have each group broken up by their respective shows and have each 4 characters from the same series be on the same team, or you can do something different and you can have it that any group of 4 characters can be part of any of these teams. It's up to you. Each character comes with a card that reflects different stats that will determine how well they play throughout the course of the game. Notably, how good their aim, speed, and range is. Speed coming in handy when it comes to moving your piece around the board when you're given a select number of how many times you can move certain spaces, like straight forward, straight back, diagonally, etc. You're given different types of foods that the characters can throw, each of them coming from their respective series, from Reptar cereal to Krabby Patties. Now, how you throw food in this game is really weird, with the aim number on your character's card being what determines how many dice you can use, which is synced up with the number on the food cards that you have. Yeah, some players might like that aspect of the game because it offers more of a challenge and gives you a chance to strategize, while some people just might find it tedious and a little excessive. Each of the food cards also come with certain advantages, namely being able to lay down hazard cards on the board that can slip up your opponents. Danger tokens, as they're called in the game. But be warned, you also have to lay down danger tokens around you as well, so it's one of those advantages that can also potentially slip you up. To keep track of who's thrown an item at each other, you flip around the character cards you have, and everyone has to reset once everyone has their card flipped over. There are also these items you collect called cool tokens, which resemble ice cubes. Haha, it's very clever. They have numbers on the bottom which are supposed to signify how many cool points you get. The more you collect, the more points you get. Also, to highlight if a player was successfully hit, they have to put an item on their character grid. Once the character is mostly covered, your character has been splatted and is now out of the game. And to really rub it in, you can steal their cool tokens, as well as getting a super cool token for taking another player down. Wow, talk about kicking someone while they're down. Not only do you beat the other player, but you also get to take their items, and you're rewarded for it. And that's pretty much the game. The person with the largest number of hits and super cool tokens wins the game. Or if one person's team has been successfully taken down. Honestly, that part seems to change depending on who you ask or what sites you're reading the instructions off of. They're incredibly nebulous and vague with that kind of thing. That was Nickelodeon Splat Attack, and overall, it's fine. It's not great, but it's fine. It's certainly playable. It's fairly entertaining. Oh, and it's better than those SpongeBob board games we looked at last time. I've made it clear in the past that I'm sort of out of my nostalgia phase, and just seeing stuff like this doesn't automatically make me want to buy it, unless I really want it. But I was curious enough to see what this game had to offer, especially since it's not just another rehash of popular existing board games with characters from popular franchises thrown into them. Cough, SpongeBob, cough. For the positives, the game does have original, unique gameplay mechanics, interesting strategic elements, and plenty of craftsmanship on display, especially with the molds for the figures. I can definitely see why these were the standout with this game, and why people would want to go in and paint them to perfectly match their respective characters. But as for negatives, it certainly relies on nostalgia, and if you're not interested in any of the shows or Nickelodeon as a whole, it probably won't appeal to you. Also, the instructions don't really explain certain aspects that well, like what constitutes winning the game, but even still, it's nowhere as bad as the instructions for those Golden Bell SpongeBob games I looked at. I can see people who are simply nostalgic for classic Nickelodeon wanting to get this game, and that's all fine, but honestly, I think this kind of game works a lot better for a family game night type of game. You know what though, despite some of this game's flaws and the fact that IDW Games is now officially shut down, good on them for actually getting this game put out. I mean, it started as a simple Kickstarter project, and what do you know, they actually got the game released. And they even got to do the whole Reptar Rampage expansion pack they promised from the original video. So, yeah, good for you, IDW. Until next time, I'm the Media Wiz, cause one art form wasn't enough.
Not just cartoons. Arnold, Helga, Phoebe, Gerald, Sid, Grandpa, Stinky, Harold, SpongeBob, Patrick, Sandy, keep the Krabby Patties handy. Squidward, Tito, Twister, Reggie, Rocket, Otto's sister, Ginger, Hoodsy, Carl, Macy, Junior high school life is crazy. Not just cartoons.
We're Nicktoons.
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 Grandma sings, Polswick rolls. Cat and dog have separate bowls. Invader Zim and Mrs. Bitters giving Dib a case of jitters. June and Henry, Baby Dill, Angelica and Phil and Lil, Susie, Kimmy, Chucky, Tommy, all their daddies and their mommies. Not just cartoons.
We're Nicktoons.
Not just cartoons.